to me that makes sense now.
Mm.
Just then, like I had that effortless, just that effortless being doing nothing. And I would always hear people say, "Oh, it's effortless." And you would like I would see that as okay, like always trying to conceptualize what does that mean? Like what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's effortless, then how does one you know take that path or whatever, however you'd like to describe it. But then now that makes sense to me. I guess the difference between the intellectualizing versus the experience.
Hello, Alessandro.
Hi, Ilona.
Great to see you for the third meeting.
Yeah, and you too.
Hmm. Okay, and let's start by a little reflection. I'm curious, how was your week? And if you noticed anything interesting, unusual, different,
Mhm.
or nothing.
Yeah, um, the big, like the first part, well, most of my week, it was just sort of more of the same, I would say. Um, but then on Friday, I had a bit of I don't want to say a bad day, but a day where I felt a lot of, some things were happening, and I felt a bit of, like tension and just frustration, you know. Um, and then this was sort of like towards the afternoon. This is probably the biggest thing that I noticed. And then like I found myself like I sort of couldn't come out of that,
Mm-hmm.
like it was sort of just taking over, and I was pretty short with my partner. Um, but then um, like I was just sitting and like I was noticing the sensations and the thoughts and sort of just sitting with that. And then, I just sort of noticed, I just noticed it sort of just start to disappear as I sort of gave it attention. Um, Without like the attention that I felt that I was giving it, um, you know, for the period before that was sort of just like an attachment to that, to
Mm-hmm.
the sensation. I thought everything was sort of against me, and then I just started to sit with that, and just sort of forgotten that there was like sort of just forgot the idea of a me, that there was someone there that to get upset.
Hmm. Interesting.
And then and then it just disappeared. And that's the things that were sort of upsetting me were things that had had like previously caused sort of um stress or anxiety, like this sort of tension. But then yeah, as I sort of just sat with it and just noticed that, well, just yeah, like forgot the idea that there was a me to be upset, it just sort of disappeared.
And what do you make of it?
It was just like it was just like sort of liberating in a way.
Ah, interesting.
To notice it dissolve.
Mm-hmm. So it arose that and then quickly dissipated, let's say that.
Yeah, like but it was almost like there was not like it just happened, like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, I was just sort of going through my night, and I was just sort of with, I was just with it. And then, yeah, just like I remembered, it was almost like it wasn't there to begin with,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, hang on, I was upset like an hour ago.
Oh, sounds like effortless happening.
It really
Like a
was.
children,
And
you know, like children, they fall down, they cry,
yeah,
stand up, laugh, and run again, and then something happens, then
mm,
they get distracted and into something else.
yeah,
So it's not like hanging
yeah,
on to what happened an hour ago.
yeah, it really was. And the attention that I was giving it because I noticed it arise and
Hmm.
I noticed the thoughts sort of just coming and they kept coming and they kept coming. And it was like a tidal, like sort of like a tidal wave and it was becoming overwhelming. And then
Hmm.
the sensation started to take control. And then, and that like the more I found that the more attention I was giving it, the more it was sort of taking over.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, it was strange, but then I just sort of had, yeah, it was like this feeling of like, who gives a crap, you know? And it was like you said, it was effortless.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably like the biggest standout that I noticed in my week that I had sort of like struggled with before
Hmm.
previously.
Sweet. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, when we look back and we see that something is missing, something used to be this way, and it's no longer there. That's how we notice the shift.
Mm,
Because whatever happens in the system to rearrange after the core beliefs are challenged and are seen through as not true and dissolved, the rest needs to fall into place. It takes a while. And we notice that by looking back and seeing that, oh, like a month ago, I used to feel this way in this situation, and
mm,
that feeling is no longer here. Or I used to say this to that situation, and I'm saying
mm,
something else now. It's just,
yeah,
it can be very subtle, it can be very vivid and very obvious, but the change is seen when we look back.
mm, yeah.
And for today, do you have any question remaining or something that you want to explore?
Um, not just something that I sort of noticed just through like my day to day that there's sort of moments where, you know, you just the day is just happening. Um, but then I find that sometimes, when I'm, when I'm sort of out or like I find that there's this still like a bit of like this self image that, I know like that I notice sort of, um, I've noticed it in thought, like they're just thought, but there's still a thought about, this self image that you try to say, portray to, you know, people or the world
Mm-hmm.
and sort of notice that, um, like, and yeah, it's, it's just something that I notice occurring when I'm sort of out and then it sort of goes and then it comes back and it's quite, you know, and because I'm noticing it,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm still noticing it with like I'd say some sort of attachment. So like say for example, I notice it and then I'll do it. So even if it's just the way that I say hold myself, you
Mm-hmm.
know, my posture or something like that. Um, but then sometimes I'll notice it and I'll try to not do it because I'm noticing it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess that's probably wasn't really a question attached to that, but yeah, I guess it's just something that I'm noticing
Mm.
on a yeah. There's still this self-image.
Well, think about this way, that self-image was built in 26, maybe 24 years. It took a
Mm,
while to build it, and it was so
yeah.
well protected. And it
Mm,
was like, oh, this is the most precious thing, my precious, my image, my
mm,
person, how other people see me, how I should behave or think or feel around other people. So they perceive me in this particular way. So that image cannot dissolve in 1 second. But
mm,
in 1 second, you can see that you are not that image.
yeah.
So the mind structure takes a while to collapse or to stop generating that image. It may
Mm,
take months or years, who knows? But
yeah.
but in one instant you can see that you are not that. That image is just an image.
Mm,
And the more you see that, the easier it is to remember to see that.
yeah. Yes, because it becomes quite, and it's something that I mean, maybe like before I had any sort of practice of self-inquiry, some it would be something that I didn't even notice. Like it
Mm-hmm.
would be just this sort of ignorant, not by any fault of, it's just the way that we've been conditioned, but it would be like this ignorant compliance with this self-image. But I guess now I can feel it. Like you can feel this, like
Mm-hmm.
you become more aware of the sensation of this thought and then the sensation that it has, and then the whole process. It's like it takes a split second, this whole process to form, and then the reaction to that. But
Mm-hmm.
now I notice it, and so
Mm-hmm.
it does. I notice that uncomfortability from the attachment to the thought, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
But
think that
then,
the Vipassana training done good for you, because you were trained to notice sensations. Now it's just
mm,
another stream of information, the thought or
yeah,
images. Like you can notice
yeah,
that just the same like the sensations in the body.
yeah,
Mm. And yet there is something here that is noticing it all effortlessly.
mm, mm,
It's not like a thing to do or a thing to achieve or some kind of struggle
mm,
to notice it. It's effortless.
yeah, yeah. It does. It just happens that noticing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like the noticing, like I mean, with noticing sensations and with vipassana is obviously to be equanimous with the sensations that arise
Right. Right.
without
Mhm.
without labeling them or attaching attaching an idea to them. But then sometimes it's hard because you notice the sensations and or like even it's I guess it's the same process with thought, right? Is to just to notice them and then like I guess it's yeah, just training. Is it like training to not be attached to not be attached to those thoughts? But I don't want to yeah, like the obviously the language sort of distorts what's happening.
I would say yes and no. Training is it's like training attention, training focus. Where is your focus going?
Mm, yeah.
Training to notice. Yeah, okay, training. But
But
the
then
very action is effortless. It's happening.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
very good to be able to hold attention where you want to hold it.
Mm,
Because if
yeah.
the attention, if you can hold attention on something for a particular time, that attention is the very energy. It's the very
Mm,
aliveness, the life force energy
yeah.
that, has this capacity to open things up. Like if you stare
Yeah.
at your palm for, I don't know, 2 minutes, you will start seeing much more detail than if you just have a glance,
Mm,
right? So holding
yeah.
focus is very useful. And also knowing that you don't have to keep the focus on the concepts of mind or images all the time. It's very useful.
Mm,
You can look at the focus itself or attention itself, or you can call it awareness itself and just
yeah.
stay with that, which is here prior, all these concepts, ideas, and language. So it's good to be able to notice what is here besides concepts, ideas, and language.
Yeah.
In that way, yes, it's training.
Mm. Then yeah, I guess I get just with that you, with the language you don't want to form more conditioning.
Mm. Okay, but you can see that language is empty. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, this is how we communicate. And if we start
Mm,
distort language, it will be difficult to communicate because other people will think we are weird. Like,
yeah.
some people start referring to this like by name, or Ilona is
Yeah.
sitting in a chair, or Ilona, or the body just done something, but it sounds weird.
Yeah.
And, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I say I know it's pointing, it's talking about this experience here. And I know
Mm,
it's empty. This I is not an entity. This I is empty. It's just a word
yeah.
that points here.
Mm,
I can use that word 100 times a day or a minute
mm,
if I want. It's still gonna be empty.
mm,
So it's kind of
yeah.
seeing that language is okay, but
Yeah.
you can look at each word and re-evaluate what it means, like
Yeah.
redefine it for yourself, what it means, what it points to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see a lot of
Yeah.
difficulties there with translating whatever you read or you hear to your own
Mm,
language, because we have our own language.
mm,
Like when you
mm,
speak authentically from your own experience, you will use particular words. And you can read some book
yeah.
and they will use different words, or another book will use
Yeah.
different words talking about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how these words translate to my experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I give you one word and you'll see immediately what I mean by that. And that word is God. Like, how do you define
Yeah.
God? What word God means to you?
Yeah. Well, you know, 10 years ago, the word God would have meant something different to what it means to me now. So, to me, the word God it's sort of, it's, it's in reference to seeing everything as it is. To me, that's what, or like, lo- you know, losing this idea that there is a self. And like, a sense of liberation and peace. But 10 years ago, I would have thought God is this, you know, person in this, or this entity in the sky that's, the Christian, the idea of God,
Hmm.
the concept of God. But yeah.
Yeah. And some other culture may use word the self. The
Mm,
self with a capital T and capital S
mm,
means the same,
yeah.
points to the same. So it's
Yeah.
finding these words, what they point to. What is the truth of that word in my experience?
Mm, Yeah.
Because often we use language, we can use words without really questioning or really knowing what it means. And then there is
Mm.
a confusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I guess like sometimes I can find like I can find myself like I can see like the conflict of, you know, trying to just be, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like I can see I yeah, like I can feel like I can see the conflict of just being, or like if I'm just doing something and I'm like I can, you know, feel myself or seeing myself attach labels to certain things, then you know, and then I guess there's conditioning to a certain extent of not attaching labels to things,
Mm-hmm.
or having that experience without attaching a label to something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then that's the conflict of just seeing things, even if it's just seeing things, you know, a bit like, you know, I guess which sort of ties into what you were saying, which is like the language and what that means to you. Obviously, you have to use the language to communicate and describe things. But then, yeah, like I guess sometimes can be a bit distorting in the sense that I feel like, or if I'm experiencing something and I'm saying, oh, you know, or if I experience something beautiful in nature and I go, oh, that's beautiful, you know, then I'm like, oh, okay, but now I'm attaching another label. So then like this whole like conditioning and the whole like conflict starts again. Like, like
Right. Right.
don't, and I guess to some extent, like that's just sort of like an intellect. Well, it is just an intellectual, like an intellectual thing, right?
Okay, maybe you're making this labeling thing too important.
Yeah,
Ah, so what labels come in? Can they also be? Because if they're allowed, they can
yeah,
come in and they go. They're not disturbing peace.
mm,
They are not
mm,
allowed. If there is something wrong with labels, or they shouldn't be here, then there is no peace. Because labels keep coming.
yeah, yeah. And like sometimes I'll, you know, just even walk. An example would be like walking through the park, and I'll walk through the park, and then this, there's this, you know, thought that I have to, like, it's almost like that there's this thing that you need to be present to see, to find it, you know, beautiful rather than just walking,
Mm,
you
okay,
know?
so many rules, huh?
Yeah.
But
That's what
but
I,
but
that's
you
what I struggle with.
yeah, but you said it right. Like it's quite difficult to just be because all
Yeah.
these things are also here.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult to see the sunshine if the sky is cloudy.
Mm,
So at some point the clouds are gone and there is sunshine. But if the sunshine is obscured, it's obscured. And
mm,
all we see is clouds. All we see is these judgments of what should be or shouldn't be, rather than just like, okay, this is going on right now. This is what's here right now.
yeah.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah. Well, now
Yeah,
that I'm, now that I talk about it, it seems so futile,
right.
you know? And
Oh,
as I'm talking about it, I'm like, well, that's just what's happening, right?
mm, mm,
Like that's the experience in that moment.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by trying to see beauty in those moments is trying to change your experience. as
Mm-hmm.
it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you are missing the very beauty that is in front of your eyes.
Mm.
Why try?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God. It's so funny.
yeah, yeah,
Just being is not difficult. It's always on. It's
yeah.
effortless. And you can see that by asking this question. Do I need to do anything in order to be?
Mm.
Do you need to do anything in order to be? Do I need not to do something in order to be? Yeah, these questions don't even make sense because being is.
Mm. Mm.
Or do I need to know something in order to be? Or I'm not knowing something in order to be.
Yeah,
I don't know enough. There are some secrets about how to be, all this mental
mm.
noise. But the being is,
Yeah, yeah. I guess in some ways, like listening to, so I guess in some ways, listening to like spiritual teachers and these types of people, it it can create like a conditioning to an
mm-hmm,
extent.
yeah.
And I guess like yeah, I think like I said last week, like you have these ideas, like you think that there's all these experiences that, or like that the some like the world will just change, you know.
Mm-hmm,
But yeah, like you said, like there's nothing, and there's nothing to it. There's nothing to attain. There's nothing to know.
yeah, it's on.
In fact, knowing more is the problem.
So maybe there is something to unknown, to unlearn,
Yeah, yeah,
unlearn all these
unlearning. Yeah,
ideas, what other people say, how your experiences should look like.
mm,
But it's okay,
yeah,
we can read these books. It's quite interesting and
mm,
entertaining, and it gives some pointers and ideas. And yeah, well, for the mind,
yeah,
yeah, for the mind. But
mm,
beingness is here regardless.
yeah,
And the more energy is given to the mind, the more detail you see, and the more it starts analyze, compare, and evaluate, and give more labels and names and stories. But again, we can take that attention and just bring it down, bring it into the heart, and just see what it feels, what's here.
yeah,
And then some interesting things start to happening or to show up. Like if
mm,
you just like take attention into the heart, just feel the heart.
mm.
You can notice how mind is getting quieter right away.
Mm.
That's one good thing.
Again, I noticed just in that brief moment of silence. Again, I noticed the as I was sort of doing that, or focusing and bringing my energy to to the sort of like the center of in my heart. I noticed the thought, oh, to say something or to continue the flow of the conversation, and
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, that thought just disappeared and it was like silent.
And when staying with attention in the heart, the detail starts to open up.
mm,
Different flavor of detail. It can show up as joy, as
mm,
peace, openness. And that's where it's easier to just be. So when attention is here trying to be, okay, good movie, but
yeah,
no thanks. just being. Just being is in more visible or more intimate or more vivid when attention goes
mm,
into the heart.
mm. And I feel like everything that I've just sort of said for the last half an hour is all about my attention being here.
Hmm. And what do you notice when you go with attention into the heart?
I notice the mind quietens down, and as I look at the screen, uh, there's no sort of like I just there's no labels to what I'm seeing,
Hmm.
and the, you know just the sensation of the heart sort of just beating.
Nice to nice to just be when there are not many words coming.
Mm.
And then kind of space opens, feels more spacious, open, and the sounds. So I guess this kind of answers your question about what to do with all this labeling.
Mm.
Like take the energy out, put it lower,
Mm.
lower here.
Yeah, yeah. And I just had that realization just now when you said like when I said to you that all my attention just on reflection, all my attention is just placed up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you were talking and when as my attention was placed down here, the words were just they were just words. Like they had no meaning to them. They were just sounds that I understood.
This is what I mean. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Attention is here.
mm,
I'm here. And everything else comes and goes.
mm,
Again, some different words would be being present or just presence, just being. Or being here now.
mm,
You may read all these words, but they all point to the same attention here.
mm,
And the mental stuff can still arise. You see the rise and it goes. Like
mm,
I can be here noticing. And then words come in and say something. But it's not like I'm thinking what to say next, or I need to say something to,
yeah.
to maintain an image of how it should look like that I wanted. But when you hold attention here, maybe the words come up different or different quality. They're not worried
Mm,
about stuff that doesn't exist.
yeah.
And then the curious thing is this breathing. It's very interesting. When the attention is out from the storyland, you start noticing breathing, and it's so
Mm,
nice to breathe. It's like delicious, most wonderful thing. Wow. You can just sit and
yeah.
breathe effortlessly. Again, it's not like
Mm,
count till 5, hold till 3, and exhale in 5. It's just like, wow, this is here all the time going on.
yeah. I did notice the breathing. The the entrance of the air through my nostrils. Like I just noticed it sort of felt heavy, but it was like it was a nice it was just yeah, it was peaceful.
Mm.
It was like a weighted blanket.
Interesting to notice that you can be sitting in the same room, same everything, and you may be feeling like you're in heaven or you're in hell.
Mm,
Nothing is different. I
mm,
mean, one moment you can feel like oh, so great to just be so relaxed, I'm so happy. And
yeah.
then something happens, and the same room is like the worst room you ever been to. Why me? Why this is happening to me? And you can notice that it's nothing to do with the room. It's just
Mm,
what's getting attention.
yeah.
What is feeding your attention on your attention?
Yeah.
And as you see that if attention is going too much here, you can always like recognize it. Say, oh, thank you. 5
Mm,
stars. Thanks for the
yeah.
show. Good show.
Yeah.
So here's this again pointer, heard many times, there's nothing to do.
Mm.
Or nothing can be done.
Yeah. As as you sort of you listen, like I mean, to me that makes sense now.
Mm,
Just then, like I had that effortless, just that effortless being doing nothing. And I would always hear people say, "Oh, it's effortless." And you would I would see that as okay, like always trying to conceptualize what does that mean? Like what does that mean?
mm, mm.
Well, like if it's effortless, then how does one you know take that path or whatever, however you'd like to describe it. But then now that makes sense to me. I guess the difference between the intellectualizing versus the experience.
Kind of trippy, isn't it?
Mm. One thing that I just noticed was I just noticed these just the mind just flickering
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. They were just coming and going. But if I wasn't in the place, the there was no there was no attachment to those thoughts, to stop thinking or quieten the mind, or there was none of that. There was just one thing, just part it just they arose and they passed, and there was nothing. It meant nothing.
You know, the most valuable thing that we have is attention.
Mm,
And if you look into the outside world and it's in society, everything is a hook for attention. Like everything wants
yeah,
attention.
yeah,
Yeah. You put on TV, I don't, but used to, and all these advertisements or whatever they're saying there, whatever they want you to believe, is the hook for attention. Take your
yeah,
attention and take it for a spin. And so is this mind is always like, what's the next thing? What's the next bite? What can I
mm,
get hooked on? What can I chew? It's so
yeah,
important. So it's literally wasting your life energy, your creativity, your joy on
yeah,
something that you're being fished on, like a hook.
mm,
You bite on a hook,
mm,
and here you go for a spin. It may last a
yeah,
while until you recognize, like, oh my God, all this nonsense in the head, it was just completely unnecessary.
mm,
So this process is about unhooking from whatever
uh-huh,
is stealing attention, taking
yeah,
attention away from just oh, being,
yeah,
being peace. Hmm. Just being, feeling good.
yeah,
And now we don't need external world to, provide us hooks. This apparatus is so well trained that it can do it by itself.
Yeah.
But now there is an openness and receptivity and awareness what's happening. And even though the hook can come in and steal your attention, it's not gonna last for that long like it used to.
Yeah.
Because this department is not that important.
Mm.
Yeah, it is important in practical ways. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you need to get a job done and you need to use the mind for it, it's very important. But the
Mm.
hooks that come in and steal attention for just because something wants something from you,
Yeah.
they can be seen quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
And you know when you are hooked by not feeling good,
Yeah.
by feeling attracted, something is
Mm.
not right. That's how you know that you are hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, when a fish has hook in the mouth, it's like painful.
Yeah. I've noticed that. Even just in like conversations, like these, yeah, just noticed it in conversations with people, like they have like a, a different idea to you, and you notice. I guess I just know like how I noticed the contraction arise, like just even from a simple conflicting, like an idea that conflicts with one that you hold or a belief that you hold.
It's like, hello, hook, I see you. I see you.
Yeah.
That's the key. I see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I am here. I'm here. And I see you.
Yeah.
Kind of creates a space to look at that hook from impersonal view, meaning that it's something that is arising on its own by itself. Right? It's not you. You're not doing it. You're
Mm.
seeing it. It's
Yeah.
not who you are, and it's not even yours. So you don't need to defend it or protect it or fight for it. It's just another hook.
Yeah.
Comes to say, like opinions, they are so important. You have to have your opinion about pretty much everything.
Mm.
If you want to have a decent conversation, you have to stand by your
Mm.
opinion, right? But what is an
Yeah.
opinion? Like, I'm going to hold on to this idea,
Yeah.
and this is the right idea. I'm going to have this
Yeah.
kickboxing match
Yeah.
to make sure this is got like it's the right one, it's the best one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it can be entertaining. Like, you know, people like to watch boxing matches or martial
Mm.
arts or, you know,
Yeah.
chess. Doesn't matter. The sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it's taken
Yeah. Like,
lightly, you know, you don't need to worry about it, you know. That my image of me
yeah.
is going to get challenged or changed if, you know,
Yeah.
I agree with somebody else. So what?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be like, I'd be talking to friends or like just listening to a conversation with friends, and then even if you're not contributing to that conversation by with say information, you feel like you need to be contributing to the conversation rather than just sitting there and just listening or just being without you know making it about yourself like on with contribution.
Hmm?
And I'm yeah, I've definitely noticed that in the past. But then, it's almost like people like it's almost like it's expected of you to be that way. If you sit there, sit in silence, everyone, what's wrong with you? Is everything all right?
Yeah, or you can be sitting with a big smile on your face saying, wow, great guys,
Yeah.
I love being with
Mhm.
you here.
Yeah, my partner does that all the time. Like sometimes I'll just sit at the dinner table. Oh, what's wrong? Is everything all right?
Yeah, and at the same time, can be chatting and telling some
Mhm.
stories and having fun, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that. It's not
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's serious. That's the thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, can have an opinion and hold it lightly. And
Mm. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
that it's a joke, really.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm. So the upstairs department is getting makeover a little bit.
yeah,
Like all these serious bosses are like on the leave. Okay, bye bye now. You can
yeah,
go for holiday or retirement.
yeah.
The practical bosses are okay. Yeah, they need it.
Mm,
The
definitely.
entertainers and clowns and all this other crew can stay. Quite fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm. And then there is room for playfulness. There is room for humor, just having fun, enjoying. And there are some situations that seriousness is appropriate and it's needed and it's good to feel what you feel when it is needed.
mm,
But otherwise, it can be on holiday.
yeah, yeah. I found that on Saturday I was out with some friends and my sister was my sister came to visit and she was doing something else and then um the dog was home alone and he got into the bin because I had made like some meat and there was a bone in the bin. And he got to the bin and made destroyed the house. And you know, such a such a burden on my life. Now I have to clean it up and mop and but I found it funny. Because the dog hasn't like doesn't it's not, you take it personal.
Yeah,
The
doesn't take
dog
it for
doesn't care. He just wants the bone.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing with me and with everyone.
that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alessandro, and thank you everyone for watching, listening. If you have any comments, leave them below. Till next time, bye for now.